Iman is when the belief becomes a conviction. You see, in other words, when the creedal formulation that we've learned becomes something that we're willing to die for. And this is something very profound. Because like Imam al-Busiri said in his Hamziyya, إِذَا حَلَّتَ الْهِدَايَةُ قَلْبًا نَشِطَتْ فِي الْعِبَادَةِ الْعَضَاءُ. When guidance penetrates the heart, suddenly the limbs respond in worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is the profundity of conviction that Allah is true, that Allah's messenger is true, that the Jannah is true, that the Nar is true, the Sirat is true. All of these things are haqq. They're true, they're haqq. They're from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They're real. And one of the most profound realities of this tradition, and this is something I've only come to realize, one of the most profound realities of this tradition is, unlike all of the other peoples on the earth, or at least the vast majority of the peoples on the earth, the Arabian Peninsula, at the time that the Messenger of Allah came to it, had a unique aspect to its belief system. They did not believe that there was anything after death. The vast majority of human societies believe in some form of life after death. The native peoples of this continent believed in this. The traditional African peoples believed in that. The Europeans believed in it. The Druidic people believed in it. Even the ancient Greeks with their Hades believed in an afterlife. Dark and despairing as it was, they believed in an afterlife. The Chinese believed in an afterlife. In Pure Land Buddhism, they believe in an afterlife, reunited with the great Buddhas of the past. The Indians believed in an afterlife. The Arabians did not believe in the ba'th. ما هي إلا حياتنا الدنيا وما نحن بمبعوثين. It's only the life of this world, and we will not be resurrected. من يحيي العظام وهي رميم قل يحييها الذي أنشأها أول مرة. Who will bring dead and decaying bones to life after they've died? Say the one who brought them back the first time. So this is something extraordinary. How is it that the Quran, we have not examined the Quran. As an ummah, we have a romantic attachment to the Quran. Most of us say, oh, the Quran, what a great book, and have never even read it. They've never read it, right? We're like people in the restaurant who look at the menu for 50 years and never order to taste the food. We just look at the headlines, right? Right? You go into the restaurant and it says shish kebab, and you don't even know what that is. And you just look at it and stare at it. And the garçon comes to the table and says, would you like to take your order? I'm still thinking about it, right? Really, that's what we're like. We're like people that have never bothered to taste the food that Allah has given us. Food for thought, right? Food for thought. The Quran, and this is why this romantic attachment to Islam is a flimsy attachment. It's an attachment that leads to extremities. It's an attachment that leads to passion when one is impassioned. And passion, as every ancient Arab knows, is something that is incompatible with the intellect. Like in the story Imam al-Qushayri mentions about the Usfur, there was a sparrow on the top of Suleiman's place of worship, and he was trying to convince a female sparrow that he was a worthy mate, and she wasn't paying any attention. This is a story. And he said, you know, if I wanted, I'd turn this dome right over on the head of Suleiman for you. And so Suleiman, who knew the interpretation of the birds, called him down. And he comes down, he's all shaking and his little sparrow heart's beating. And he says, Suleiman alayhi salam says to him, what made you say that ridiculous remark? And the sparrow said, oh, Prophet of Allah, don't you know that lovers are never taken into account for what they say in the presence of their beloved? Right? In other words, I was in a state of passion. You can't take me into account. And this is the reality of, you see, we have these passionate displays. In fact, there was something somebody told me about. I didn't see this, but there was a demonstration, I think it was in Canada, and they fought. The Muslims were fighting over who was going to lead the demonstration against the bombing of Iraq. Right? This is a disease of the heart. It's called hubb al-riyasa.